Yo, fantasy community, welcome to Proper Things, the FPL show brought to you by the TT FPL Pro-League, episode 31. And it's your host, your boy Michael, back after the first half of the international break. And where we left things off in Gameweek 29, the moral of the story was if you had Muniz, you already covered the spread because it was tough sledding for points in the 4 games that were Gameweek 29. If you were lucky to get the 13 to 15 points to get that green arrow, kudos to you. If you had Muniz, if you captained him, well, you hit you hit pay dirt, as we say. Well, heading into Gameweek 30, this Holy Week, we have a match of the 2 behemoths, with my boys Manchester City clashing with Arsenal, and I know that the Liverpool faithful will be getting a W no matter the scoreline, so hopefully my Sky Blue Army could also get the win and the 3 points. But that being said, we have to move things quickly on into this week's episode, and we begin with the review of the 4 games in Gameweek 29. Well, Gameweek 29 started off with a bang, and depending on if you had regular or not, it was feast or famine as you received that early red card, and Burnley would go on to win the game 2-1. Luton and Nottingham Forest played out a 1-1 draw. Morgan Gibbs-White with the assist and 2 bonuses. Tottenham went down shockingly to Fulham 3-0. Son, Maddison and the Poro owners all blanking. Muniz feasting with a brace, 13 points. Highest score in the game week, and if you had him, most likely you covered the spread. Needed to get that green arrow. And finally, it was a 1-1 draw between Aston Villa and West Ham. Other popular assets such as Bowen and of course, Ollie Watkins both blanking. So, again, it was tough sledding for points. If you had Muniz, you covered the spread. And that was the review of the shorter in the Game Week 29. And now with the reviews signed and delivered, we're moving into the most anticipated segment in the entire show. Of course, it's named aptly after the show. I'm talking about the Proper Things segment. Here's where we give you the picks that should be in your team now and going forward with your Proper Things picks. Your needle movers for the aggressive players looking to rise rank immediately. Spilt milk means they've overstayed their welcome in your team and need to be moved on ASAP. And finally, the wondering picks are the players you should keep a keen eye on with plans of bringing them in the upcoming game weeks. So we're starting things off with the Proper Things picks for Game Week 30. Again, these are the picks that should be in your team now and going forward as they are the centerpieces to FPL. And last game week in Game Week 29, I gave 3 picks that were playing, of course, in Watkins, Son and Poro. Unfortunately, it was so bad that game-wide, most of the assets didn't return. Neither did those 3 assets, with 1 for Poro and a brace, well, couple points each for Son and Watkins. This game week, we promise a return to form, and we kicking things off with the Proper Things defender pick, being Malo Gusto of Chelsea, coming in at a budget price of 4.2 million. When it comes to Gusto, the only thing that would be in owners, on the back of owners' minds, will be the pending return of regimes if he returns. Currently, there is no scheduled return date for the English right back, but we'll have to keep our eyes on that to see how it develops. But going forward, I think Malo Gusto is one of the best defensive options in the entire game. Not only is he attacking, he has 8 assists this season in all competitions, but he is locked in at the right back position once Reece is injured, and he comes in at 4.2 million. So there's no excuses for you not to own the Chelsea right back. Chelsea also have and sweet fixture list going forward as they play Burnley this upcoming game week. They also have 2 doubles on the horizon. One should be in game week 37, but the other one is yet to be scheduled. So Malo Gusto should be penciled into your team, especially if you're on wildcard. At 4.2 million, he's a must-have asset now and going forward. But we have to keep our eye on regimes and see how that return develops. In midfield, the Proper Things midfielder pick would have to be Heung-min Son from Spurs. He is the captain of the Lily Whites, and although he disappointed versus Fulham, the entire Spurs team was a letdown. But I promise a return to form from the South Korean, and Spurs should walk away with a win versus Luton. And seeing how Luton has defended in recent times before the international break, a lot of goals could be on the cards for this very attacking Spurs team. And Son is so highly owned that if you don't have him in your team, you're promised to be punished with a potential big red arrow. Coming at 10.1 million again, he's not cheap, but I think he's worth every penny right now in the game. I think he could hold Son for the next 2-3 game weeks until Spurs blanks in game week 34. So you have Son in your team, kudos to you. If you don't have him, you could be in for a long weekend and a tough few weeks to come. So Son is your proper things midfielder pick for game week 30. And finally in attack, with the two behemoths clashing, Manchester City and Arsenal, that is, Erling Haaland is not on the list, and the guy retaining his proper things forward pick for this game week is Ollie Watkins from Aston Villa with a fixture versus Wolves on the card. I know that a lot of people are moving away from Watkins, especially if you're on wildcard, whether it be to Darwin Núñez or to back to Solanke or another asset, but I think that Ollie Watkins is a hold right now. I think a lot of people still have him, and against Wolves, you could be in for a long weekend if you don't. We know that Aston Villa are one of the better teams in the Premier League with form. They did draw their last game versus West Ham, and Ollie Watkins is primed to try and deliver to get himself on the plane for the Euros 2024 in Germany. Didn't really have a sweet game, he didn't have a nice performance versus France, but he will be looking to bounce back versus Belgium if he gets any minutes, and then you're looking to regain some form versus Wolves. You can try to challenge Haaland for that golden boot as well, and to put Southgate on notice. So I think that Ollie Watkins is a must-have, especially versus Wolves, and Aston Villa being one of the better teams in the Premier League. So Ollie Watkins is your proper things forward pick for game week 30. And now with the proper things picks firmly in the rearview mirror, we shift gears into my favorite segment in the entire show. I'm speaking about the needle mover segment, and this segment is for my aggressive players looking for that punching points that could get you that green arrow and that rising rank immediately. And this game week, I have 3 assets that are sure to go boom. I'm kicking things off with the needle movers defender pick, and that is Castagna of Fulham. They have a premium fixture versus Sheffield on the cards this game week. And not only is Castagna locked in the Fulham defense, but he's one of the more attacking fullbacks in the entire game. And I know his counterpart in the Fulham team, Robinson, has been gaining a lot of traction and a lot of followers, but I think Castagna is still the more boomable asset, if I may, this game week. You know, Castagna pops up in the box for the odd shot, and Sheffield's defending and their place in the league standings will need them to come out there and try to get the 3 points. And I think that Castagna could find the spaces necessary to get those offensive returns. And of course, Fulham is on for the clean sheet versus a Sheffield attack that has been lacking that extra oomph this season. So Castagna is your needle movers defender pick for game week 30. In midfield, it's a guy who will be coming into a lot of teams before Liverpool's double in game week 34. I'm talking about the king of FPL, Mo Salah. But I think he's a needle mover this game week because a lot of managers would have to wait one more week to bring the Egyptian king in, or they'll have to take a hit, which most managers will try to shy away from, especially after game week 29 that offered so little points. We all know what Mo Salah is about, no need to explain his goal scoring prowess, but I think this is an opportunity for those who are able to jump on the ship early and get the fixture versus Brighton that Liverpool will be playing this game week on Easter Sunday. I think some goals will be on offer. Salah did not report to international duty, so he should be well rested. He should be putting that injury concerns behind it. Expect Liverpool to win this game handsomely as well to continue their push to become Premier League champions, and Salah will be at the heart of it. So if you can't get Salah in this game week, he's also a premium captaincy option. So Salah is your needle mover midfielder pick for game week 30. And finally, in attack, I have a pair of strikers that could help you move that needle handsomely this game week. And I'm starting off with Núñez from Fulham, being the budget striker needle mover for this game week. Again, Fulham play Sheffield. We all know what Muniz is about. We all looked at what happened in Gameweek 29 versus Spurs, where he bagged a brace and 13 points in just over an hour. Should be back from the injury that he suffered, and he should be ready to bang in more goals versus a very porous Blades defense. And accompanying him in the Neil Movers forward pick for this game week is the Swedish Viking of Newcastle, being Alexander Isak, coming in at 7.5 million. And Isak is a more boomable asset for the long term rather than just this game week. I think if you're looking for a 1 week punt and then wild carding, I would go Muniz. But if you're looking for an asset that could boom this week and be held a little longer, if you don't have that wild card, it will be Isak. I think that Newcastle playing in the early fixture this game week is going to send a lot of people in other directions when it comes to the Swedish striker. I think that he could be on for a couple goals this game week, and he's a better asset than Muniz going forward. So Alexander Isak is your Neil Mover forward pick along with Muniz for game week 30. And now with my aggressive players handled, we move into the spilt milk segment. And here is where I give you the picks that should be moved on from your fantasy team immediately, as they are beginning to smell, they are beginning to get funky. We're kicking things off with the spilt milk defender pick, and that being Kieran Trippier of Newcastle. I know he's coming off injury, so he's not sure to play in game week 31. He also too is 6.7 million, and I can't really see the benefit of keeping a 6.7 million asset who's not sure to play. And even if he's sure to play, Newcastle have been letting in goals at a very rapid rate recently. You know, Nick Pope hasn't returned in goal, and another blow me in Sven Botman getting an ACL injury, meaning that he's out long term and for the rest of the season. The Lascelles will be back in the team, but I can't really see Trippier rewarding owners with that 6.7 price tag. So for me, he's a definite must sell and your spilt milk defender pick for game week 30. In midfield, it's a guy who comes from the Sky Blue Army and a very expensive one at that, coming in at a whopping 10.5 million. I'm speaking about Kevin De Bruyne. Again, he's not sure to start this game week versus Arsenal, which is sure to be a very, very big game and a cagey one of that, I believe. And I can't really see him paying back that massive price tag. And even going forward, we know that Pep Roulette really is in effect when it comes to Manchester City assets. But I know, especially with De Bruyne, Pep would have an eye on that Champions League clash with Real Madrid in mind. So the minutes for Kevin De Bruyne will be very limited in the Premier League, and therefore he has to be the spilt milk midfielder pick for game week 30. And finally, in attack, it's a guy who had been the toast of the tongue, everyone's fantasy darling, coming into game week 28 when he had a double and then a matchup in 29. I'm speaking about Carlton Morris from Luton, and he blanked in both games and in the game week 29 encounter. So 3 straight blanks and not so rewarding fixture list going forward means that Morris is on the outs, and a definite must sell for me. If you're looking for someone cheaper or in the same price bracket, it will have to be Muniz, who is at 4.6 million at the time of recording. And of course, if you're looking for another striker, you could go with Isak, who is the other needle mover pick, or of course another alternative in Darwin, who will be mentioned later in our moonring pick. So I can't see any upside holding Morris. Even if you're looking for utility strikers, Muniz is better. So he's a definite must sell for me and your spilt milk forward pick for game week 30. And now with the spilt milk delivered, we shifting gears into the wondering pick segment, and these are the picks you should keep a keen eye on with plans of bringing them in the upcoming game weeks. And to kick things off, we starting with the wondering pick defender pick, and that is Pedro Porro of Spurs for game week 30. We all know that the Spaniard is one of the most attacking fullbacks in the entire game, but coming off injury, we don't know if the defenders lost a step and how Spurs are going to look after a shocking loss versus Fulham. They do play Luton this game week, so if you have Pedro Porro, you're definitely keeping him and starting him. But if you don't have him, 5.8 million is a lot to commit to asset we are not certain of in the long term. And even this game week, as we don't know if Spurs could concede a couple goals again this game week. So we're keeping a keen eye on Spurs and Pedro Porro to see how he goes in game week 30. Moving now into the midfield, you're wondering midfielder pick is the Arsenal captain. I know even the Premier League temporaries will be watching the clash of the behemoths on Easter Sunday, so we definitely want to see how Martin Odegaard goes, if he will be pulling the strings, as Arsenal do have a very friendly fixture going forward with a game versus Luton in game week 31. We know that a lot of owners have Saka, so they already be covered in the midfield, but maybe a double stack would be worth it when you're speaking about the Gunners, midfielders, and attackers. So Martin Odegaard would be one at the top of the list. We need to see how the Arsenal captain plays versus the Sky Blue Army as he's locked in, and we'll make a determination on whether to bring him in the upcoming game weeks from that performance. So all eyes on you, Martin Odegaard. And finally, in attack, it's a guy who is one of the most polarizing players, I should say, in the entire Premier League, if not the most polarizing player. I'm talking about Darwin Núñez, the ultimate Jekyll and Hyde player. In the not so distant past, he was not converting chances, but in recent memory, he's been converting them at a more regular clip. We know Liverpool are going to create chances for their number 9, and Darwin Núñez looks to be locked in that position. So we know the chances will come, and he's been putting them away. Liverpool do play Brighton this game week, but I know a lot of owners will be prioritizing getting in the Egyptian king in midfield if they're looking for a Liverpool asset, and Darwin might not be on their bingo card for this game week. But ahead of the game week 34 and with a very friendly schedule, Darwin will definitely be on the radar. So we keep an eye on Darwin this week, especially off the injury. Did not report the international duty due to that injury, so we want to see how he plays off the injury, and we will make a decision if to bring him in game week 31. So Darwin Núñez is your wondering striker pick for game week 30. And that concludes the Proper Things segment for this episode. I know that a lot of people will agree with the picks. They will have some who disagree with the picks. I want to hear from both sides of the argument there. And if you have better alternatives, I'll also like to hear who you think will outperform these assets that I gave in the Proper Things segment. I want to thank everyone for viewing the video so far. So while you're leaving your comment, you should also leave a little like on the video and subscribe to the channel. You know, I really appreciate each and every one of your support. And now that you have all the picks you need in the Proper Things segment, I know a lot of owners would have that dilemma on who to put the armband on. So have no fear, Captaincy Corner is here. So here on Captaincy Corner, we give you the best assets to put that prized armband on. In the top 5 assets, we give you all the best picks and some cheeky ball plays for those looking for that little differential captain. So the best captaincy option coming at number 1 this week on Captaincy Corner is Heung-min Son of Tottenham Hotspurs. Their captain, the South Korean, is been in amazing form, but that came to a halt surprisingly versus Fulham in game week 29. I know a lot of captainers were left disappointed with Spurs and the South Koreans' performance on the whole, but I promise a bounce back versus Luton this game week. We know Spurs are one of the most attacking teams in the entire Premier League, and Luton have been letting in a lot of goals, so it's the perfect storm. Plus, the Cowley Boy should return to its glory. Heung-min Son is the number 1 captaincy pick at the top of the ladder here on Captaincy Corner for game week 30. In second position, it's the FPL King, the Egyptian King, the best asset to have over the last 5-6 years, and I'm talking about Mo Salah from Liverpool. I know that he didn't really play in any games during the international break and is coming off an injury, but he was well rested for those 2 weeks, and I expect a big return to form versus the Seagulls this week. Comes in at number 2 because I would still rather go for Son with the high ownership of Son already in teams and players not looking to move for Salah this game week, maybe next game week, but I think it's an opportunity to get a 1-up on those owners. Mo Salah is number 2 on captaincy corner this week. And rounding out the top 3, well, we must have this guy somewhere on the list. If he was a little more expensive, I guarantee that he would have a lot more people in his corner for the I'm talking about Cole Palmer from Chelsea. I know he's in the majority of teams as he's been such a nice budget option for a lot of owners this game week. Chelsea do play Burnley. He does have a little knock on the eve of England playing Belgium, but I expect him to recover in time for that fixture. Again, if he was a more expensive asset, he would be higher up on this list. But that price tag is perturbing a lot of owners. But Cole Palmer comes in at number 3 behind Salah and Son. At number 4, we have that little cheeky ball asset, if you may. He's one of the most owned players and the highest scoring striker in the game. I'm talking about Ollie Watkins of Aston Villa. The Villains do play Wolves this game week, and I expect Watkins to return to form after a not so nice showing versus France. Then at number 5 is the ultimate cheeky ball asset here, and I'm speaking about the guy who plays in the Gandhi game fixture this game week, and Isaac from Newcastle. I expect Isaac to return, and might not be in a lot of teams to begin with, and those who have him might not look to captain him, but I think he's an excellent cheeky ball captaincy pick for this game. You may say no Manchester City assets and no Arsenal assets make the list, but they play each other this game week, so I don't really see a lot of appeal for going for a captaincy option in this game, especially since I think they will be a very, very close encounter. So that rounds out captaincy corner for game week 30. I hope that quench any dilemma that any owners may have on who to give the armband to. And now with the captaincy dilemmas out of the way, we move into the segment that returns after a hiatus in game week 29. I'm speaking about the race for the 10K. And here in the race for the 10K, we give you all the latest updates in the standings for the TT FPL Pro-League. And, well, this game week, seeing the point tally, I didn't expect a lot of change, but I've seen a new member into the top 5. So let's see who's leading the race, and we're seeing that the top 3 remains the top 3, with Sasbo lads from FPL Trini leading the way with 16 points this past game week, and 1880 on the season. FPL Trini is just continuing that march towards the championship. A quick look to see where those 16 points came from. We're seeing already that he felt a curse to that regular on -3. He got 3 from his keeper Ariola, 1 each from Doherty and Udoji in defense. Midfield that sparked 2s across the board in Barkley, Bowen, Son and Madison. Morris and Watkins 2 each as well, and he only played 10 as Solanke didn't have a fixture. So congratulations again to FPL Trini leading the way atop the TT FPL Pro-League standings. Then second is his mortal rival there in Ewick, Andre Roberts, at 16 points as well, and 1846 on the season. You know, he's just 34 points off the lead, but a lot could change this upcoming game week if Andre gets the picks right this game week. So we want to see if he could return to 4. And rounding out the top 3, it's David Coiles of Coiles FC coming in with 22 points this game week and 1802 on the season. No Coiles, they're just holding the rope there behind the top 2, trying to see if he could make way into that championship race. But right now the top 2 just running away from the pack. As we see in our first green arrow in 4 there by Dr. Phil Ford, my couple Ramcharan, 23 points on the season and 1,794 for the season. Excellent game week there from Capel, getting him back into the top 5, and closing them out is White Rice Party by Salim, 18 points this game week and 1792 on the season. Taking a look at the top 10, we see in Sky Soul Redemption by Stefan in 6, Midas Touch by Lorenzo in 7th, 8 is Everyone Loves a Fatty by Ryan, 9 being Lord of the Mings by Jordan, and running out the top 10 is Pelican Bay by Nick, my little cousin. They were playing big this season. We taking a little stroll down to number 22. We see that red arrow, 13 points. It was really 9 because I took a hit. And it wasn't tough sledding. If you look at my team, which leads us into the my plan transfer for this game week. So if you look at my team, we already see I felt victim to the -3 by Regulon. I also had that 1 in defense from Doherty, 2 by Bowen, Son, Madison, 1, Watkins 2, and Morris 2 points as well. And this game week, we're looking to switch things up as we'll be moving on from Bowen and Regulon, and we're looking to bring in Mo Salah and Gusto. And not really want to take a -8. Maybe I change my mind on Gusto and decide to bring in a striker with Morris making way, but I am not sure if I want to move Morris this game week, especially with a big hole in defense, as I don't really want to play a double Arsenal defense versus Manchester City. So most likely I'll be setting up in a 3-5-2, Watkins and Tony. My 5 midfielders will be Madison, Son, Saka, Palmer, and of course the incumbent Salah coming in. And the back three will be Gusto, one of the Arsenal defenders, and Doherty. So that's the plan transfer for this upcoming game week for the Legacy 10X. With that being said, that brings us to the end of this week's episode. I hope you all enjoyed all the content. I had an absolute ball delivering every segment. I want to hear from you all in the comment section to see how you all any opinions you have on any of the segments, any of the picks, if you're loving it, if you're not so liking it. And while you're there, you could leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. So again, thanks for all the support. Enjoy the Easter this weekend. And of course, there will be midweek games after the Easter. So look out for the next episode. Look out for the next tips and stay safe. And don't forget to do proper things in all walks of life. I'll see you all soon. Bye.